Okay, tonight we're going to talk about the Industrial Revolution and the changes that resulted from it. So your due now is to read my cheesy quote or line about industrialization is a tasty treat enjoyed by several European countries during the 1700s. You can make your own industrialization using the ingredients and directions below. So you should get from this that I am about to go through the factors that are necessary to undergo industrialization. Here we have the inside of a factory. Notice the rail car that moves around for efficiency, as well as each person is kind of at a different machine, probably doing a different task, etc. But when we talk about factories, you can picture something like this. So industrialization is the process of developing industries or businesses that provide a certain product or service. You should write this at the top of your page. But it's taking the production of products from a handmade basic level to a larger scale, so an industry. Okay, the first thing you need for industrialization is increased agricultural production. So to produce more than you need or a surplus. Think back to your notes and fill in how agricultural production increases during the 1700s. It should have to do with the second agricultural revolution. So an agricultural surplus is essential so that A, people who were working on farms before can move to cities and work in factories. B, you can have enough people to be buying goods but also producing the goods. And in order to have more people, you need more food. Our second ingredient to industrialization are cities. So agriculture means land is privately owned instead of by the government, and we have technological developments, machines making less people need to farm and more people move to the cities. Cities are important because they're home to lots of people. Those people buy goods and they work in factories. So they not only produce the goods, but hopefully in an ideal situation, they also buy the goods. Our third necessity ingredient is a reliable source of fuel. So 1 is a reliable source of food, 3 is a reliable source of fuel. And you should remember from your notes that coal is the primary source of fuel during the Industrial Revolution. We still use coal power to a very minimal extent today. Mostly we use petroleum, but that's a relatively recent development. Before that, they had coal burning furnaces, and the steam engine was fueled by coal. So somebody had to literally shovel in coal regularly into this engine. Next is you need a money-based economy. As in, not an economy based on bartering or trading for goods. It needs to be based on money. And people in industrial economies need money to buy goods produced in factories. If you're industrialized, you're producing a mass quantity and selling a mass quantity. You don't want to have to determine what your good is worth in wheat versus in t-shirts versus etc. So money was the common standard. And you need consumers who can afford to buy goods, meaning they are making regular wages. The last thing you need is a steady workforce. But before I go into this, I want you to take a look at this picture, especially compared to the picture on the last couple slides. What do you notice about the people working in factories? What can you infer about the conditions? And we're going to talk about this, but I'd like you to have this image protected in your brain. So a steady workforce is important because factories need a great deal of workers on assembly lines. People got injured all the time and needed to be replaced, or they stood up and refused to act or were lazy and needed to be replaced. So there was no job security or contract. Rather, if something happened to you, you were simply set back out onto the street and a new worker stepped up and replaced you. So it was important to have many workers so that factories could get away with this. If they needed workers to try to come around, they would have to treat them better and worry about them and pay better. You also need a network of railroads, and we're going to see as Russia develops, that is key to their industrialization. And railroads are important because you need to be able to distribute the goods you're making. One, you need to be able to receive raw materials and finished products quickly. So ships are one thing, and they take quite a while, but once it's on land, we have, again, outdated. So there aren't trucks yet or cars, etc. And so railroads are really key rather than horse and carriage to deliver goods. They move raw materials, finished goods around regions quickly, and that means more profit, the more readily you can sell things. So this is a relatively short lecture. Those are the ingredients, and you get a European country. And we're going to see how in 50 years this growth of industrialization leads to imperialism. You need to complete the back of this worksheet, starting with major innovations of the Industrial Revolution on your own, using your Princeton Review and your notes, etc. And we'll see